Next on the agenda then, going back to item F, is the city manager's comments and update on city operations.
Mayor, just a few points today to speak to. It is, sometimes we have a short agenda, and we have one today. But sometimes when we have things on the agenda, they're pretty profound items, and a lot of the we have, it seems a little awkward sometimes sharing the stage with parenting and family and breast cancer awareness. We all know non-survivors. We herald the survivors, but we all know non-survivors. NAS, Alzheimer's, these are real issues our society deals with, and the people of our community and our nation deal with. And it's just sometimes takes a moment to really reflect about the magnitude of these things that really are impactful. But I do have some announcements today, so let me get to them. As we all know, there is some flooding occurring in the state. The city is partnering. Just got a message from the chief. We're working with the city of Austin to get some water up there and help them out. Our team is coordinating with the city of Austin and Travis County. I wanted to make the council aware of that. Hurricane Michael has hammered the Florida Panhandle back on the 10th, and we sent 3 people from our team over into that area. Assistant Fire Chief Rick Trevino, Battalion Chief David Sines, and firefighter Kelly Maiden. They went to Mexico Beach, Florida as an elite urban team and a rescue team, so they have been sent over there as part of a Texas task force. The activity over in municipal court. Our municipal court judges are looking for ways to move people through the court system a little bit better. They have provided an open court days in courtroom A from 8 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. People can go in and directly get their warrants and citations and make payment arrangements directly. So that's speeding that program up over at municipal court. Drug drop-off program. This is something also that's very important. On this Saturday, the National Drug Takeback Day. What we will be doing is at 3 different fire stations from 10 to 2 p.m. We will be coordinating with DEA to take in expired prescription drugs. And that will be at station number 7 at Staples and Doddridge, station 13 on Waldron, over in Flower Bluff, and station 14 at Staples and La Costa. And then another item, it's really important. One of the things that we see in localized flooding is clogged storm drains. And we do have a team that their efforts are during this time period very active in keeping those storm drains open. There will be a demonstration this Friday, October 26th at 10 a.m. at the corner of Deary and Skyline Drive. And what we'll be doing is demonstrating what city crews do to keep our storm drains clear. That will be on Deary and Skyline Drive this Friday at 10 a.m. And then finally, if we could have the communications department come down. Mayor, sometimes our departments do something and everybody starts looking at what we do. And that is the case with our city hall in the mall. We have gotten calls from across the state and regions and the country on how we did that, how effective it was, and in large part because at the National City and County Communications and Marketing Association, City Hall in the Mall competed against 700 entries for awards, and we won 3 National Communications Awards with that event, and this is the team that made that happen. First place for resident participation, second place for best special event, and second place for best marketing event. Something to really be proud of this team. So if we could, Mayor, we'd like to get a picture. And Kim, do you want to say something? You have no mic.
This is only a sampling of the communication team. I will tell you it takes a small army to put on this event. And we are so thankful for La Palmera Mall for continuing to have us back. And this is just part of the event that sets up and takes down and does all the behind the scenes. It's entire citywide effort. So it's the entire city that comes together for this event. And it is such a great event for our residents. And we're so proud to continue to host it.
Good work.
Thank you.
Get us all in?
Thank you.
Kim, that's great work. Thank you. Making the city look good. Great. Well done, okay?
Everybody's been there. Thank you. You also took pictures, so. Thank you.
And the congratulations goes to the council as well. The council served their tenure during that event, and y'all received as many people as any staff or any of the other booths. So thank you all for participating and being a part of that. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to Peter Collins to give us an update on billing.
Mayor, before
Yes,
our
ma'am.
city managers, interim city manager sits down, I really appreciate getting these updates that really reflect some of the things that are happening in the city every single day that we don't get a chance to hear about. So knowing that we have folks who are going and helping in the flooding situations and the hurricane situations and you know, the great staff that's going to be helping us understand what happens when it rains and what we do. Just really appreciate you bringing us that news, because sometimes we overlook that in all the day-to-day stuff that we do here. So really appreciate that proactive information resource. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Peter Collins. I've been working on the billing system. I'm here to give you the progress report. We continue to work on the data collection units, known as DCUs, to go ahead and ensure the health check of each unit. There's about 82 in the city. We've already, as I mentioned last week, restored 8 of them to a functioning status. There's training that's been completed this week by the vendor to ensure our staff knows how to operate, maintain these systems. So that will be work in progress for a couple of months, but they're performing pretty nice. We do want to change some of the aspects on the data collection units to where we don't rely on the Wi-Fi system that we put either in a data modem that use cellular technology, or we actually hardwire it to the fiber network to ensure we don't have transmission errors. This would be a logical move forward. With that said, we move forward with, as far as the new billing layout, that seems to have been positive because we rolled it out during the last billing cycle, or the current billing cycle that's being produced. With that said, there is a second part of the new bill layout, which is going to include the little window I spoke about that shows the payment plan. Also, it's going to show if there's anything in dispute or suspended that a customer feels that it's not an accurate bill. I maybe owe $600, but I believe the bill says I owe $600, but I really don't believe that. So I believe I owe $200. So it becomes suspended and it's disputed. It'll be shown on the bill, but it's up for discussion until it's investigated properly. The other feature that'll be on the next layout, or the second phase of the bill layout, is if the meter reading is an estimate, it will so note it on top that it is actually an estimate, not a current read. Okay. As far as the MTUs, we've gone through this system very methodically. We've talked about, as far as software issues, we talked about the billing layout. There's a whole many pieces that have to come together to produce an accurate bill for our customers. Obviously, the meters themselves are very solid. I know we need to differentiate from that, but also we have the MTUs that are transmitters that actually transmit the current read at the time to the data collection units, known as the DCUs, through an application called STAR. Presently, working with staff, and we've aggressively start to go ahead and address the issue of the MTUs that have now been verified that they actually are not transmitting. The reason why we're at this point now is because we need to ensure the DCUs weren't, the data collection units were not given contributing to the problem. Now that I feel comfortable that DCUs are functioning, now we know the MTUs that are not functioning, and now we can send staff to go ahead and replace the MTUs and take the appropriate actions. And then we'll start getting those current meter readings, which I spoke about. The impact will be that once we have the current meter reading, either a person will have a credit or a person will have a higher charge. So there'll be a spike in that coming in the future, but it's not all going to happen overnight. It's going to be a progression of these as the meters or the MTUs, the transmitters on the meters are actually replaced. We'll start seeing current meter readings, and the staff in UBO is ready to manage those calls and address the concerns of the customer so we can work through those issues. As far as another key component, as you remember, I mentioned that you have these exceptions. Staff, the UBO staff, has been looking at anywhere from 10 to 14,000 exceptions since we went live each month. Well, part of that contribution is obviously the no meter reads that are real no meter reads to where we weren't receiving meter readings from the MTUs. That's valid. But also, there's other components in there that I wasn't comfortable with to say what other possibilities do we actually have. The application star that actually gathers the data from the meters and store it in a database, that produces the upload file so you can process your bills with the current meter readings. It also creates another file to say these are the records or meters that did not meet the criteria. They're invalid. So the modification to the star system is actually going to give me the ability to read that file and tell me what the exception is. Because right now it doesn't tell what the exception is. It's just that it's invalid, no meter reading. So that was scheduled for tomorrow to start. We actually started this morning. So we're aggressively getting that update in. The vendor's been very proactive, and we're moving forward, and there's no charge for it. It's part of an upgrade. So this is going to be another piece of the puzzle that we can start decreasing the amount of no meter reads each month so we can get into a manageable atmosphere for the UBO folks who've done an amazing job trying to keep up with this every single month. So the other action that I have coming forth is that in order to be proactive, and one of the components that I was asked, well, how do we get there with the data collection units, the DCU? We have to give staff the ability to have a toolbox to address issues on skill sets that we may not possess inside the city. And we're looking for is the service agreement will be coming up onto council. I believe it's next council session. And what it does is actually enhance the staff here with other skills and availability of equipment in a timely fashion instead of going through a full billing cycle, a procurement cycle or a bid. We can do it off of state DIR, working closely with your information system department and also purchasing. We develop a service agreement that gives the ability to splice fiber, make cables, give us the ability on the fly to address network issues that may arise, not just for the data collection units, but also for your fiber network. If there's a break, you can utilize this service agreement for it to support the police cameras, the video cameras in the field. So there's an estimate of about $150,000 in a year to maintain these systems. And as you know, with service agreements, it doesn't mean you spend $150. That's the authorization that's being sought to at $150,000, and provided the budget is there for it, it's been identified, and it just gives the staff that are supporting these systems, your network, the cameras, the data collection units, the ability to respond quickly, not taking weeks to try to get a piece of equipment or to hire somebody to come in to do fiber splicing or whatever it may be. So I just wanted to definitely give heads up to that. So that's my short briefing for today.
Well, thank you very much. We look forward to these briefings weekly. And we'll keep you here till we get this thing up and running and maybe beyond. So, Ms. Opal?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Collins, when you talk about the MTUs, we love to talk in acronyms. What does that stand for?
That's the meter transmission unit.
So it's
That's a little transmitter that's able, through another device called the register, to transmit the current meter reading automatically to the data collection unit, which is known as the DCU.
That's a piece of equipment that's attached to the meter?
That's correct, the water meter.
So it's a piece of equipment that is not functioning as it should?
No, there's no transmission. So either it could be, there's a number of variables. It could be an obstruction out in the area or a battery that might have gone dead. It just depends.
So how many overall are you saying might be impacted?
It could be well over about over 5,000.
And are you seeing any, like, because I'm sure you guys have gotten a lot of data now, any sort of patterns of where all this might be taking place?
Well, there's different areas in the city that obviously when you analyze it, there's portion in the south side, and then there's other areas where I would refer to it as Old Town, a high concentration there too that needs to go ahead and be replaced. I want to remind you that to go ahead and take action when I first got here on this, we didn't want to send staff out to have MTUs replaced that didn't need the replacement because of the data collection unit possible. Now that we have focus, now staff is engaging to send out a strike team to attack this methodically, and obviously O-Town is the high priority to take a grid approach and work our way through it.
Well, Mr. Selman, this is probably more directed towards you, but Mr. Smith and I both sat in a meeting when we were working on the utility billing that related to the commercial accounts, and we were basically led to believe that the equipment was not going to be sort of in question, and so this certainly points to a different direction than what we thought was going to be. What we thought was just basically a software problem has turned out to be much broader than that. So we're really looking forward to getting all this detailed so that we'll be able to actually do some systemic long-term impact and not see I guess we've not been doing our maintenance, or we haven't had the systems in place to do the follow-up. So looking forward to getting that put together. So, and Mr. Collins, I agree with the mayor, having you come and share kind of what you're doing, it's very refreshing to know that we have some good structure, and that we're building on that structure to make it even better. So appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. Looking forward to more.
Ms. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I find these briefings just very refreshing, and I think probably our citizens out there watching also. You mentioned 2 weeks ago about our issue with no reads. Do you have any now? We're 2/3 of the way through October. We were 14,000 no reads in September. How we're looking right now? Where are we on the no reads?
Well, as far as the no reads, let me clarify. There are a group of true no reads, which means we didn't receive a read from the meter. It wasn't transmitted into the data collection units in STAR. There's approximately over 5,000 of those. The other balance is where I'm analyzing to figure out what is that difference. So let's just make the numbers simple. 5,000 true no meter readings and 5,000 no meter readings that aren't what really the problem is. So right now, by this upgrade to the software that manages the meters in the field, they're going to be producing their exception report, which actually just shows why it did not get to be a valid meter reading. They used the catch-all no meter reading, but they had an upgrade to where it will tell me exactly why the validation, or why did that meter reading fail. And I'm looking at that's going to be some low-hanging fruit for us to address. It could be entry issues. It could be meters that shouldn't be sent for meter readings. There's a number of issues that can abound from that. But I definitely want to separate the two. So we have five, say if it's 10,000 for a month, we have 5,000 that are definitely we're not getting the transmissions from. Then we have 5,000 with this potential. The other thing is through analysis of actually, this has been like one big black box. And I walked inside it, and I had a little tiny match. And now, as time goes on, it gets brighter and brighter. And now I have a torch flashlight. By being able to drill down and trace the flow of data from Infor, requesting the meters to STAR, and then STAR sending it back, and doing comparisons and working with staff. Out of UBO, they've done fantastic because they have the knowledge base on how things are supposed to work and sometimes how things flow. But after a combination with the vendors, not just Infor, with the STAR folks, with staff, now I've been able to put a trace, and I've been methodically tracing the flow. When that data file is created, what's in it? So just because I have the file for meter requests, I want to know what it contains, down to all the meters, what are they, how many are there, and then when they go to STAR, why am I getting the exceptions, which will help me with this update. And then I can reconcile this because there's something in that process that's overstating the problem that we're facing, as far as it may be a simple software change to where staff doesn't end up with 10,000 when I can eliminate maybe over 4,000 by a simple software modification that doesn't mean anything to us anyway. But what it does mean to us, the ladies are spending a lot of time, or the UBO folks are spending a lot of time looking at meter readings each month as exceptions. That doesn't matter to us. So that's what I'm pursuing there.
Do you have enough visibility now to have goals? So we had this original benchmark. So we're driving down every week, every month, all of the issues you just talked about. So have you established that yet? What's our end game? Our end game, I guess, is 0 or a fraction of a percent. But where are we from where we were when you came on to where we're heading?
Well, there's been a lot of vast improvement because there's been a lot of critical issues that have been resolved that gives us the opportunity to actually analyze this at a deeper level. I believe that with the change for the software upgrade, with the studying and the examination that I'm doing as far as the data flow between all the systems, I think we'll see some improvement next week that we could be proud of. Also, with the MTUs being fixed in the field, that's going to help lighten the load too. So I think we're in a position to where we're going to start seeing some vast improvements. We're at a good spot. We've made huge progress on this system as a whole. When I mean system, all the systems that interface and all the importance and the enterprise solution to it itself. But the progress has been solid. And like I made the commitment, I'll report the good with the bad. So it's been trying to get the lights on in the black box, and then now I have valid information. I suspect it, but I need that valid information that there's some other software issue going on that's overstating the exception file when it hits the UBO folks downstairs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Well, we do appreciate the work you're doing, and I think I see the pink lapel and the breast cancer awareness, and the key to that is early detection. And it's not only life-saving in breast cancer research, and we wished we would have had early detection in what our problem was with our billing process. I think we didn't want to admit that. I mean, it was always the computer, and I think we finally realized that we're all in this boat together. We need to be rowing the same direction, and we appreciate the effort you're putting forth, and I think we're picking up speed, and the waters are smoothing out. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to next week's Halloween. Is it Halloween next week? Your Halloween report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Isn't next Tuesday Halloween? No. Oh, Wednesday. Oh, well, you don't have to wear a Halloween uniform then, okay.
May I add one thing, Mayor?
Yes.
I do want to thank the city manager because he has to empower the environment I work in and also the city staff that have fully engaged in being in solution-oriented mode here. Sometimes it's difficult to say, oh, man, we should have looked at that or whatever, but we have that positive motion forward, and that's it. We're in solution-oriented mode, and a lot of staff inside the city has stepped up definitely to the plate to go ahead and get these issues put to bed, because they're actually enabling me to figure out what actually happened and then how we can drill down to try to fix it. So I want to say thank you, Keith and City Manager, and everybody else that's out there. And they know who they are. That has been really helping quite a bit. Thank
Well,
you.
that's
and
good.
council too. I mean, obviously.
Well, thank you, and that's good to hear, and we appreciate the staff and everybody's commitment to the goal. So thank you,
Thank you. Have a good day.
sir. Now, go back to work. Okay, strategic future issues, we have anything on that?
Nothing to report, Mayor.